Hi, folks. Good evening. Today is June 17th. It's been a few months since we at the Parks and Rec have met. I think since February, in fact. So we're very excited to get caught up on some of the things going on in town, trying to practice our safe social distancing and trying to keep ourselves safe, our family members safe, and the people we volunteer with safe. So here we are today. Let's go with introductions. I guess I'll start. So I'm Christine Lavoie, co-chair of the Parks and Rec Committee. To my left is
Michelle Creswell, member and secretary.
Matt Kasparius, Director of Parks and Recreation.
Abby Cody, student representative.
Rick Grenier, MYA liaison.
Shannon Barnes, school board representative.
and on Zoom we have
Laura James, chairman. Tracy McGraw, member. Oh, you can talk, okay. Julie Poole, committee member.
Okay, I'm good.
excellent. Thank you very much. So tonight we have some Eagle Scout projects to review, which is very exciting. And first up we have Keyshawn.
Yeah.
And how do I pronounce your last name?
Srinivasa.
Srinivasa? Nice. And why don't you go ahead and take away and tell us about your project?
Just real quick, if you can make sure they'll press the button on the microphone.
Yep.
Thank you. There we go.
Well, welcome, Keyshawn. It's awesome that you're here.
Thank you. All right. So, hello everybody. My name is Keyshawn Srinivasan, and I'm going to be talking to you today about my Eagle Scout project. Behind me is my advisor, Mr. Plant. Thank you for being here and helping me. So, a little bit about myself. I am Keyshawn, and I'm an upcoming Merrimack High School freshman. I participate in many clubs, such as FLL Robotics. I'm a band member. I do Science Olympiad, and I am a Life Scout from Troop 424 in Merrimack, New Hampshire. I joined Cub Scouts in 2011, and then I bridged over to Boy Scouts in 2017. I have run many trips, such as the State Jamboree, Whippoorwill Cleanup, which is a campsite that we clean up, and Court of Honor. I have also held many troop positions, such as a patrol leader and a den chief, and most recently, I am a senior patrol leader, which is the highest troop position a scout can have. My Eagle Scout project is going to be the construction of an ADA compliant ramp at Wasserman Park, specifically for the summer camp office.
Fantastic.
The ramp will need to be stable and safe, and also have an opening so the existing stairs can be used. As I mentioned, it has to be ADA compliant, so it has to follow the standards of 1 inch of rise for every 1 foot of ramp, and it has to have 36 inches from railing to provide ample ramp's wheelchair space. We will also be laying out a stone dust path from the end of the ramp to the handicap parking lot. I chose this project because I really like Wasserman Park. I have lived in Merrimack for all my life, and I have had many fond memories of basketball, baseball, tennis, and walking. And this is also the topmost priority for Mr. Kasparius to be done at the park. The tools needed for this project include a drill, saws, hammers, levels, and wheelbarrows. My budget, as you can see up there, totals to $1,441.17. I plan to further lower this cost by getting donations and buying from local businesses. As you can see, I have the wood at the top and then the hardware at the bottom, and the prices are from the Home Depot and Lowe's website, but as I said, the cost will be lowered as I buy from local businesses and receive donations. In May 2020, I got the approval with Mr. Kasparius, and now I'm doing the Parks and Rec Committee. After this, I'll be moving on to the Town Council, and then in July 2020, I'll have the Troop Committee Board of Review, and then I'll have the Eagle Board of Review in September 2020. The first step in this project is to have the holes dug by the town, and then we'll have to assemble the outer frame of the deck, including the poles. Then we'll have to assemble the outer frame of the ramp, and then add the decking boards and the ramp boards. Then we'll lay out the stone dust path and then test the stability of this ramp. The ramp will be 20 feet long and 4 feet wide. The deck will be a 6 foot by 6 foot square. The railings will be 3 feet high. and the stone dust walkway will be 26 feet long and 4 feet wide. Here's a 3D model of the ramp, and as you can see, it's 20 feet long and 4 feet wide on the dimensions. The deck is the 6 by 6 square as mentioned, and the 3-foot railing. And the bottom view, we will be putting 4 beams for support on the ramp, or below the ramp, as well as the deck. And the second picture on the right is also a bottom view. That part where the arrow is pointing at will be pushed up against the building, and it will allow the door to open freely. Right there will be the stair access, as I mentioned before, so it will be 2.5 feet in width, so people can walk comfortably in and out without the wheelchair rolling back. That is a map of Wasserman, and I circled the day camp office, which is the building I'll be working at. So here's a view, the landscape of this office. And right now, we're working on the right side with the minimal slope. Right there is where the stone dust path will be laid out. And that is where the structure of the base of the ramp will go, near the building. In the corner, there's a little 3 feet mark because we will be constructing 3 feet away from the building so that people can still access the windows and the AC units on that building. I'll be fundraising in September 2020 with car wash and bake sales. And if the approval process goes a little bit ahead of schedule, then I will be able to start building in mid-September 2020 through mid-October 2020. But if it goes as expected, then we'll have to build with 2 to 3 work days in June 2021. For the bake sale, the troop will donate baked goods and we'll need 4 scouts, and that will take about 8 hours. And the car wash will need 3 adults and 7 scouts and take 5 hours. Of the 4 work days, for each of them, we'll need 3 adults and 4 scouts. The Wasserman Park summer camp always has a large turnout and is very inclusive. Almost all the buildings in Wasserman Park have a wheelchair accessible ramp. This will complete the park's goal of having an ADA compliant park, and all buildings will be wheelchair accessible. It's really important that the building that I'm working on is accessible because of the summer camp and nurse's office. Thank you for having me here, and thank you for listening to me. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Nice job, Keyshawn.
Thank you.
Yay. Yes, very nice.
I can roll back any of the sides if you need.
Perfect, thank you.
I also have the diagram notes here of the 3D models, if you want me to pass them around or not, but it's just really up to you guys.
Sure.
All right, I'll put it right here.
Keyshawn, I want to add, that's one of the best presentations we've ever seen.
Yeah.
You are
Thank you.
so well organized. Your
Thank
parents
you.
must be so proud of you.
Thank you.
Very thorough. Attention to detail is great.
And this is just
Yeah,
a little.
Can I add something too? Thank you
Oh,
very
yeah,
much.
sure, go ahead.
It's well needed. Did you say you were entering? Did you just finish freshman year?
No, I'm entering freshman year. I finished the 8th grade year.
Oh, this looks fantastic.
You're ahead of the time.
Oop,
Good job.
sorry.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. This is a little model of the ramp. It's just out of popsicle sticks. This is like a little bit scaled down right there. This is where it'll be pushed up against the building, and that's the stair access. I can also pass this around if you want.
Wow,
Very
thorough.
cool. Hands-on in here. Good job.
Mhm.
So I just had a couple of questions, if you're ready for those. First is, are you already scheduled with the town council?
Yes, we're working on that right now.
Great.
To get that.
Because I don't think you're going to have any trouble getting past us tonight, let's be clear. But on that note, when it comes to the camp, how did you find out about the need for the camp access? Because you're right, with the nurse's office, that's probably the most important place to have a ramp.
I talked with Mr. Kasparius, and we discussed potential project ideas, and then I chose this one.
Oh, great.
Because I felt that it would have a greater impact on the
Absolutely
community.
does, absolutely. And then when it comes to fundraisers, can you get back to us? Because I, being the school board liaison, I always try to give updates as they're coming up, whenever I can,
Mhm.
for upcoming fundraisers for Scout projects that help the town, because
All right.
you are our students. I believe your brother is an incoming senior, if I'm getting the right family, because you look very familiar. And you're in my daughter's class, that's why I know. But on that note, we do want to promote wherever we can extra touch points to get you those proper fundraiser
All right, thank
activities.
you. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm gonna look at your model now, so.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. Thank you. Any other questions?
So just, you said, right, obviously providing everything is approved, fundraising to start this September, and construction starts next year, did you say?
So because of the summer camp cancellation, it'd be an ideal time to start working now. But if the ground gets too cold or the approval doesn't go as planned, then we'll have to start building next year because the ground will freeze over before we can drill.
Right. Everything's weather dependent.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay, great. I think with no other questions, we can go for a vote.
So if you'd like, I would move that we endorse this project for a ADA accessible ramp for the Nacogdoches Day Camp office and nurse's office by Kishan Srinivasan.
Yes.
We have a second?
And I'll second.
There's a couple out there.
Okay.
Nope, you got a
Okay,
second?
we're good.
Got
You got
one
it.
over there? Great. All motions approved?
We have to, all,
You got it.
yeah,
We
all,
got some people
all in
on-
favor signify by saying, sorry.
Yeah.
I do this on the side at the
Let's
store.
see, clearly, I don't do it as often as you do. Sorry. Okay, everybody raise your
Yep.
hand.
You're gonna wanna do a roll call because of the people on the phone.
Thank you,
A
Sharon.
roll call?
Yep, so if you want, I can help you with this.
Yes,
So
please.
I'm just going to take over for a second. So what we have to do is a roll call vote because we have people that are coming in via telephony and Zoom. And so what you're going to have to do is a roll call. So I'll start. So Rich says aye, I say aye. You say,
I say aye.
Michelle says aye. And then on the phone or on Zoom, we have Laura.
Laura, aye.
Next is, who's else on the phone? I forgot.
Julie.
Julie?
And then Tracy.
Okay. Julie, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Tracy, how do you vote?
Tracy?
I had to unmute, sorry.
So we're going to go
Tracy
with
votes aye.
aye. Okay, so the motion carries
Aye.
700, 800, I'm sorry.
Eight, I think.
I'm sorry, 800. I forgot. Abby, you vote aye? Yes. Okay, so the motion carries 800. So our student rep at the school board doesn't get a vote, so that's, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So you are approved to go to town council with our endorsement.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, thank
Do you
you.
just want me to leave the computer here or bring it back?
Doing all that.
Matt, what do you want to do with
Oh,
the computer?
One, let me, obviously, I'll be in touch with you tomorrow. I'm going to talk to
all right.
once we have the approval, I'll send it to the council tomorrow so
All
that
right,
we can
thank
hopefully
you.
get on next week's agenda, because that's when they're meeting next. And in terms of the computer, you can pack up now because we have another scout
All
after
right.
you, so.
Thank you.
And then there's hand sanitizer there to, if you want to,
Great.
Doing well. Good job.
Can't wait to see this project come to fruition. This is
Yeah.
a great one, yeah.
Big project, that's a good project.
Thank you.
Christine, we do need to look at the minutes at some point.
yeah, we talked about doing that after the
Matt-
scout.
After
We have
pre-zone.
another scout project to review.
After the Eagle Scout project.
Okay, good.
All right. and-
Might need more look at whack.
All right, so we'll just then, once he gets set up, David, you can now come up, and if you want to get yourself squared away. Actually, if you want to do minutes now, well.
Yeah, go ahead. While he
We-
has them set up,
We can
absolutely.
certainly do that. So we need to do the approval of the February 19th meeting minutes. So hopefully those who were there at the time had a minute to review the notes and can move forward with the approval. So take a moment to review those.
So I move we accept the minutes as printed.
I second.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Shannon.
Shannon made the first, I made the second. Christine.
Go for it.
Okay. And then we say, all in favor?
You're gonna have to do roll call again.
Oh, roll call.
So you're gonna have some abstentions, I know that much, so, we can go through again. So Abby, if you were here, you can vote yes or
you have
no,
it
and
on
if
a
you were
flash
not
drive
here,
by
you
yourself?
abstain. So Abby, how do you vote?
If I can use his computer.
Okay, so Abby's a yes. Rick?
I mean, you can use mine
Abstain.
too if you want, if you have it on the internet.
I vote
or
yes.
something.
I did. I emailed
I
it
vote
to you.
yes.
Michelle?
Michelle?
Yep.
Laura votes yes. Laura votes yes.
Yeah.
Michelle, you were you on the list?
Okay.
I think you were.
I think you were here. So Michelle votes yes. Laura voted yes. Tracy and Julie, are you abstaining? Okay. So we have, the motion carries, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 3.
Yep.
With 3 abstentions.
Correct.
Perfect. So that's done.
Ready before, and ready before this.
Great.
This might be fun to roll.
Do they have one? I think I have
Yeah, Lon's not here, though, so he can't abstain tonight.
That's true.
on the right side.
Excellent. Good job. Thank you, Michelle.
Michelle, the queen typer.
Technology's great when it works.
It is.
And you have the right cable.
Looks like it needs a USB-C, so.
Let's try this. Okay.
Thank you.
You're gonna be good.
Hopefully that'll work for you.
Just walk this around.
Okay, so next up, as we work out some technical challenges here, Eagle Scout project proposal basketball safety fencing project at Wasserman Park, presented and done by David Roy of Boy Scout Troop 424 to review. Let's see if we can get this running.
Yeah, I think we're up.
Looking good. It's getting there.
Does it go? All right.
So whenever you're ready, David.
All right. So, hello. My name is David Roy. I'm a Life Scout in Troop 424. I'm also just finished 8th grade, heading into MHS. And thank you very much for... Sorry? Okay. Thank you very much for having me. It means a lot, and I'm excited to start moving forward with the project. So, a little bit of background about myself. I've been in scouting for 8 years and a basketball player for 9. I love playing at Wasserman Park. The courts are always a great time. Whether it be with myself, with my friends, or at O'Leary Hoop Camp, it's always fun. So this project means a lot to me because it brings the two together, scouting and basketball. So the purpose of this meeting for me is to inform you about my project, get your feedback, and ideally get your approval to move forward. I've talked to Mr. Kasparius about the project, and he's excited about it, just as I am. And I've also, with his help, actually gone to town council first, and they have approved me to keep going with the project.
Nice.
Awesome.
Thank you. So, as I said earlier, I'm an avid basketball player. The Wasserman courts, always a great time, whether it be O'Leary Hoop Camp or just with my friends. But the ball will always roll down the hill, as you can see in this video here. Yes. So this not only cuts back on time to play more basketball, but it also provokes injuries like scraped knees and twisted ankles. So my project will be a barrier fence on the lower side of the upper basketball court at Wasserman Park. This would not only stop balls from rolling down the hill, but it would also prevent injuries like rolled ankles and scraped knees. So as you can see in the picture, the red is the layout that I would like to do. And And also, as you can see, there are gaps in the fence. These gaps are for a really great reason. If the ball happens to go over or around the fence, we want to make sure people can get through quickly, because it kind of defeats the whole purpose if it's even harder to get to the balls. And also if someone just needs to get through. So for those of you who wouldn't know where this would be, this is a map of Wasserman Park. It would be in between the function hall and the tennis courts, right where that red arrow points to. So we know we need to have a fence, and we know we need the job it needs to do. I've spent weeks thinking about what fence would be the best one to put into play here. The factors that led me to my decision include aesthetics, lifespan, sturdiness, and maintenance. So these 4 factors led me to choose a sports netting fence with chain link posts. Now I plan to connect the netting to the chain link posts, as you can see on the bottom left of the slide. It is basically a clamp with a screw and a metal wire tie above the clamp. The clamp's purpose is to make sure the metal wire tie doesn't slide up and down, and it keeps the netting taut. On the right, circled, is me holding a post ground sleeve. Implementing these into the project would allow for the fence to be completely removable for other uses of that area. And on the far right, it would be about 5 feet above ground and 118 total feet of netting. And lifespan would be about 10 years before the netting would need to be replaced. So I believe this is the best option for the town because, 1, it blends in the best with the rest of the look and feel of Wasserman Park. 2, it requires no maintenance as opposed to like a wooden post fence. 3, it can withstand being hit repeatedly by heavy basketballs. For example, the post will not lean over time, and the netting is vinyl coated to be weather resistant and extra thick for this type of purpose. And 4th and finally, it can be completely removable for other uses of that area. So since this project is a custom designed fence by me, I've thought it would be a great idea to do a prototype to make sure it works the way I want it to work and serves the purpose. So this was very important because I tried multiple other designs and most of them failed except for this one. So the diagram on the screen right now shows what it would look like from a side angle. That line in the 3/4 down is the ground, and you're basically seeing underground. The red is sleeves that would go into the ground about 2 feet, and then the blue are posts that go into the sleeves and would be 5 feet above ground, and that would make it completely removable for other uses. Now here I have 2 videos of my actual prototype. On the left, that's just proving that it can withstand being hit. And here shows that it is completely removable. There we go. So to pay for this project, or the fence would come to around $1,700 for the total cost. To pay for this project, I plan to both donate from my power washing business and hold car washes through scouting. I plan to have about 3 car washes, and if that does not fulfill the $1,700 budget, I plan to donate the rest from my power washing business. This is my estimated work plan. I plan that it could be done in 3 work days. I would like, my dream scenario is that it would be put in as soon as possible because the courts have opened and it's a great time and they're definitely So I've explained the problem and solution and the approach that I would like to take. Now I'd like your feedback, comments, or questions. So does anybody have any of those?
That's a great idea. Thank you for your presentation. Good job.
Thank you.
Any questions on the floor?
I have a couple.
Yep.
I'm sure you worked with Mr. Kasparius when you were planning this project. Is the thought that when it's really winter, that we're going to take down the, and then with that, you know, it's
Yes.
more, it's probably more of a Mr. Kasparius question. Would we, since we'll be taking up the poles and taking down the nets, I know that there's that sleeve that the poles go into. Will we have something that will be able to mark them so you can see them just sticking out of the ground a bit?
Yeah, and that was just the idea. So we'd pull them out kind of when winter hits, kind of like we take down the tennis nets when winter hits as well.
For sure.
The idea of this design kind of based on what we have with the volleyball courts at Wasserman Park, it's the same thing. We have a sleeve, you know, you have a sleeve in the ground which has a cap on it so people aren't tripping on it. And then obviously it's easy to find the next season to put it back up.
Oh, great.
Perfect. So it'll last longer. So that's, you know, that's excellent. And you're right. I've actually seen people chase the basketball that exactly as you're talking
course.
about.
Yep.
So, and the other thing is if you can get it before it goes toward traffic, because obviously people are driving down to the beachfront as well. So you're actually creating a great safety solution that that is going to be very appreciated. So,
Absolutely.
so I think it's a great idea. And
Yeah, thank
but
you very
that-
much.
My questions were answered. Yeah, absolutely.
Great job.
Dave, I just have a great idea. It looks like you did a lot of planning, and like you said, it's needed. Many of us here have probably chased a basketball down.
Absolutely.
I live on the north end, so I haven't, but that's okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Well thought out. Okay, any other questions? And I think we now have to take another roll call
Need
for
help?
voting. Yes, why don't you take
Okay.
the lead on that?
So I move that we endorse the basketball safety fencing project presented to us tonight by David Roy.
I'll second.
Second by Michelle. Okay, so I'll do the roll call again. Abby, how do you vote? Vote yes. Rick?
Yes.
Yes, I vote yes.
I vote yes.
Michelle votes yes. And then on the phone, Laura, how do you vote?
She's muted, but she's saying yes.
Yes. Tracy?
Really, I didn't even notice. Thank you. Yes, Laura says yes. Tracy said yes.
And then Julie?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion carries 800.
Yep.
So,
Yay,
yeah,
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very
Yay,
much.
You're welcome. Can't wait to see that completed.
Yeah, me too.
And like
Wish I was
with
there.
Keyshawn's project, please let us know when you have your fundraising events coming up so that we can spread the word and help encourage people to go to them, okay?
Yeah, will do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah.
Great job,
So I also
Jay.
have, this is a little
Oh,
sample
the
piece.
knitting.
This is, there's the solution.
Oh, that looks really tough.
Very cool.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Like catch some fish with Nice.
Well done. Good choice.
Mm-hmm.
And just so you know, because we weren't meeting for so long, David's been kind of waiting for a little while, and so he had asked for permission to go to the council first.
For sure.
Just to reverse the process, but the council still wanted him to come here with kind of the final design. There was-
Sure.
There was a few things that the council had made suggestions on, and Lori Barrett from DPW and I sat down with him a couple weeks ago and worked through those, and obviously came up with our final product.
Okay, fantastic. Great.
Excellent.
Well,
Great job.
Good custom design and persistence, David. Excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you
Nice
very
job.
much.
Nice job.
Okay.
All
We're
good?
We're good.
Yep.
Perfect.
Great.
Here we go.
Thanks, Scott. You guys have done so much for our town.
You've done
Thank you so much.
fantastic job.
Nice to see you.
Absolutely. Stay safe out there.
Now it doesn't, it's an old laptop.
I need to give this to you.
Yep.
And if you could sign, I have a
I
pen.
can do it. Perfect.
It's not. Can
we go.
you checkbox that? Thank you so much.
Sure thing, thank you. All right.
Matt, this is the first time you've been to a Wednesday meeting in a long time, not running down to the concert.
Yeah, well, I'll talk about that in a minute, but
I know, I know.
give me one, just for a minute. Come on. Oh,
It's the hybrid thing that creates the legal, because we're technically having a physical meeting and they're dialing in. So technically, you're supposed to ask a couple of questions about, who they're with, why can't they be here? But with COVID, yeah, you're kind of covers it.
all right.
But like if people are traveling, you just, especially if you're doing anything with, making votes, that there's no undue influence in the room helping your, so that's why you have to ask like who they're with and, why they couldn't be in person and all that.
And there he is, the general himself.
Yeah. But with COVID, it's a whole new ballgame.
Okay.
On to new, old business.
No, we're still technically on.
Angel of Hope?
Still technically on new business here.
The last bullet.
One more last thing. This is more of an informational update. This project went to the town council last week, and it was the first I had heard about it last week, so wanted to just make you aware. So I'm passing out a flyer to those in the room, and I can send it to those at home later. But a group approached the town about building a Angel of Hope monument for Abbey Griffin Park. The monument is a memorial for babies who have been lost due to miscarriage, stillbirth, infant death, those types of things. And the council approved this project last week at their meeting. So I have on the screen and in the handout that I've passed out for those here, if you can see, but basically it's a 3-part monument. There's kind of a main center statue with a woman holding, with angel wings holding an infant, and then there's one off to each side of it that has butterflies and that type of thing. And the butterfly wings are engraved with the names of babies who are loved and remembered, and then benches are placed around the site as a remembrance place. So the council approved Abbey Griffin Park last week. We haven't kind of exactly finalized the location, but the thought process is if you're down in the park and you're facing the bandstand, off to the right-hand side, kind of along the woods, is where this is going to go. Now, when we actually talk to the contractors and stuff, that might get shifted around a little bit, but it's going to be off to, one side or the other. But right now, the thinking is on the right-hand side as a memorial bench location. Like I said, it was something that came up just last week, and so I wanted to bring you up to speed on that. Any questions? Not that I necessarily know all the answers, but.
Do we need a vote on this, Matt, or anything?
We don't, only because the council's already approved it. This is more informational.
Okay, thank you. No, it sounds nice.
Sounds beautiful.
So I do have a couple of questions. Is this like a town initiative or is
This
a
was
donation?
a petition to the town council from local residents.
Okay.
And it's based on there's kind of a national organization called Tears, Angels of Hope Monument. And so these monuments kind of exist all over the country.
Okay.
This, I think, is the first one that will be in New Hampshire. I think the closest one is Woburn, Mass.
Oh, wow.
From what I saw, if you go to the Tears website, you can see it shows the locations of all the other ones. Yeah, so it's the thought process is they're hoping for a spring 2021 unveiling date, assuming things get back to normal.
But this is a town that initiated it, so it'll be town funds buying the monuments.
I
that
think
kind
it's
of thing?
donations that are paying for it.
Okay.
So it's not costing taxpayers anything.
And then that was the other question I had was what happens when you need more? I'm assuming as you fill them, you might need more wings. Is that how it would
Potentially,
work?
yeah. Let's see, does it tell me here? So let's see, Dignity Memorial will be donating and maintaining the monument. And then it looks like there's going to be a process for if somebody wants to have their name added, you know, we would set up a process for that.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
Okay.
yes, potentially you could expand it down the road if it got too
If
full.
it got full, and then the other question is, who's going to manage getting those names and having them added?
My guess is me.
Oh, okay.
And we're happy to do that.
Oh, absolutely. But
Absolutely.
that, again, like process, because this is something I've never heard of before, so
Right.
what are the logistics of it, really?
Right. It surprised me a little bit too.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, I happened to be on the call for the council that night anyway, which is how I happened to find out about it. So I was like, oh,
Right.
okay.
Okay.
Well, it's just,
And I did see an extensive article in the paper recently. I just didn't realize it was coming to Merrimack.
Huh.
There it is.
So surprise.
Yeah.
You have a new
so
task.
It's all good.
It's good. It's.
Any
One
other?
thing I would add, just that I'll bet you this is a, no pun intended, a monumental thing for those that have been affected by
Oh,
such
sure.
a tragedy.
Absolutely.
And probably means a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, there was 3 families from town that I guess approached the council with the project,
Gotcha.
so.
It's very unique, so I hadn't heard of it before, but
Yeah.
that's very nice.
All right, that's all I got here. And then
Great.
move back to my other desk. So my notes are over there.
You gotta get a hat. We'll get you a hat then.
I know.
Different hat.
All right. So now we're back to the rest of my stuff. We're on own business now, but it's realistically, it's updates on where we are, and it's certainly been a crazy couple of months. It's been 4 months since we last met, and obviously lots are going on. A lot of things in the spring got canceled, and so we're still a little bit playing catch up. But starting with the beach, so the beach renovation project was supposed to get done this spring. We were kind of set and ready to go, and then COVID happened and put things on hold. Right now, we're looking at, the permits have all been prepared, so right now we're looking at a September date to complete it rather than shutting down the beach in the middle of the summer
Yeah.
on residents. So we're looking at kind of after Labor Day to do this project. And again, the idea is this, the first step, they'll go in and they will move the docks out of the way and then excavate all the mud and muck that's accumulated over the years, over the last 30 years, out of the swimming area to make it a much nicer swimming area and deeper water, actually. Like right now, if you go down there, the front of the swimming zone, even right now, is about 6 inches deep.
Yeah.
It's just all coming down the hill, you know. Once they do that, then they'll start working on the perched beach. I did not bring the plans with me tonight just because it's a little difficult to show in this
Yeah.
format. But I can bring it to you, you know, when we meet in August, hopefully, when we're not restricted in distance. But basically, it'll be a perch beach, so nice flat, you know, sandy stairs. There will be an accessible pathway down to the water, which doesn't exist currently. The state wouldn't allow us to take out the 2 big giant pine trees, even though there's
Yeah.
30 feet of roots going in both directions from the tree. So we had to kind of redesign what we had originally put together, but we got something that the state has approved, and we're good to go there.
Oh, good.
So basically, we're looking at a fall completion date, so it'll be nice and ready to go for next summer, which will be good.
Excellent. Can I add something here?
Sure.
I do know that the Lake Association, milfoil preventers have been out there and that the divers have been coming in
Yeah.
and pulling the marked plants, but I also know they got an extra day out of it. You probably know this, Matt, where a new diver for free went into that little beach area within the docks to clean that out a little bit of any milfoil. So that was kind of a bonus this week.
Yeah,
Did you?
I was aware of that. We tend to have, over the years, we've tended to have spot, kind of to the left of the swimming beach is where we tend to have a big patch of it. But this year, we did have growth inside the docks, so
Right.
it was good that they were able to address that,
Yes, it was.
you know, before the summer started.
Right. That's all I wanted to mention. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. So storm damage. Way back in February, we had talked about a tree that had fallen on one of the cabins. It was pretty substantial damage. It was ended up being $18,000 worth of damage to the roof and the structure. Now, this is a cabin we had talked about last fall about taking down because it was in rough shape, and it had been closed all last year anyway because it had some structural issues. Well, the tree kind of solved the problem because we got enough money from the insurance to not only rebuild the cabin and solve all the structural issues. So we have a cabin again and got a brand new roof out of it. So, because that was something else we were going to have to deal with, was another roof. So, so that was kind of a happy accident. And at the same time, there was a second cabin that had that same kind of structural issues, although it wasn't as bad. And we were able to get that fixed as well. That one was only about $1,000 to fix. So, so at this point, we're not tearing any cabins down. So that was good.
That was Snake Pit, right, Matt?
Yes. So,
Some of the names are funny.
yeah, it's funny because we don't really use the names. We always refer to them by the numbers. So when somebody tells them by the names, I have to think about which one it is. But anyway,
That's good news.
I'll talk about camp in a second. But I guess we're on dog park, Christine.
On dog park, certainly. So we have a current balance of $3,361.59. We do have a request for the annual bark mulch use of funds, which is up to $999. And once we get the approval here, if we get the approval here for the use of the funds, then we can go ahead and contact the landscaper and see if they're willing to help out.
Awesome. I actually have one other question on the dog park, and that was our last meeting. You mentioned that you were looking for rock salt, which I donated some. But,
Yes,
But are you still looking for poop bags?
Funny you said that. I was just there the other day, and we are running low on the poop bags, both the kind the rolls that go into the green holders in the center, and the smaller ones that we put in the little containers around the park. So that is a great idea, because we do need some as well.
Okay.
And what's my other note? And of course, we're waiting hopefully to schedule, once we can all meet again, to schedule a cleanup prior to the mulch installation. Is getting a little rough and beat up, so we need some volunteers to come down and help out, and maybe bring your dog, let them play, and help up clean up some poop and throw out some worn toys. And that's it. Yeah, the toys get beat up.
So you need a motion.
And so we need a motion for the use of the funds for the mulch for this year.
So I'll move, because I've been on the roll tonight.
Yes, you are.
That we authorize up to $1,000 to come from the dog park fund balance for the use of buying mulch for the property.
Perfect. And
I'll second that.
thank you, Rick.
Okay.
Thank you, Rick.
And then all ayes for approval?
Oh, we have to do
You
the
need a roll
Oh, the roll call.
So yeah, so Abby is a yes, Rick, a yes, I'm a yes,
I'm a
you're a
yes.
yes, Michelle? Laura, how do you vote?
Yes.
Tracy?
Laura, yes.
Tracy?
Yes.
And Julie?
Yes.
The motion carries 800.
Thank you, folks.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Chris.
Absolutely. And Tracy helps out a lot too. So that is it for the dog park. And sorry, Matt, back to you for director's report.
Yeah. I want to change it up a little bit and spread it out.
There you go.
So, as you've probably heard by now, last week the town council voted to keep Natticook Day Camp closed this summer. It was agonizing, realistically, for us. James and I spent the
Very
last 3
sad.
months pretty much trying to prepare. We felt we were prepared. We had everything laid out. We had the staff. So just a lot of time and energy. I was working 12-hour days for most of the shutdown. I was at home for, 8 hours a day, and then I'd come into the office for 6 or 7 hours every single night, just trying to be ready. And so we got to, the guidance came out finally, and it's like right away it was like, well, we have to look at this, and we need time to ramp up because none of our staff have been brought on. It takes time to get everybody on payroll, get everybody trained, collect medical forms, all that kind of stuff. So we had already canceled the first 3 weeks. And so when I went to council last week, the plan was to run 6 weeks this summer and start on July 13th. We understand, obviously, the council's concerns. The council final vote was 3-3 with 1 abstention. Unfortunately, one member had to abstain because his daughter worked at the camp. And since we didn't have a majority, it didn't pass. So we're disappointed. Obviously, the families are disappointed. We had 130 families from Merrimack that now need to find childcare, and now Camp Sargent is open for the Y, and they're running with 225 kids a week, which will be interesting to see how they do with that. James and I are kind of in the middle of trying to process everybody's refunds because we've been collecting money since January, just deposits only. And so it takes a while we have to manually take every single one out of the system. All refunds are done by checks. So it's just, we think we'll have all of the refunds to the finance office by the end of this week, and then it'll take them a week or two to get all the checks mailed out to everybody. But once we get through that, then we can kind of pivot and figure out, okay, what's next? Because camp was it, essentially. And because a lot of the other things we had already kind of pre-canceled. We had our 1-week theater camp that was canceled already. We didn't have the numbers and couldn't meet the guidelines with the smaller numbers anyway. We are attempting to run swimming lessons, but we're still up in the air on that particular one. But once we kind of get through all that, then we'll pivot and kind of figure out what's next. I don't have any staff at this point because none of them were brought onto payroll. It was all tentative hires, and so it's just James and I and kind of what we can come up with. We have a folder ready to go to start working on it, but it's going to take us some time to get up to speed. So that was camp. Facilities. So this past Monday, the stay-at-home order expired, which we're very happy to have. Last Thursday, the other reason I was at the council was requesting permission based on the governor's guidance to open up our athletic facilities. So all of our athletic fields are open: basketball courts, the skateboard park, beach volleyball. Now beach volleyball, I'm not 100% sure if DPW's gotten the nets up yet. I know they were working on it in addition to like Bice Field, they still had to finish prepping. The parking lot at the MYA building, they were paving, so that hoop is not back up yet, but should be fairly soon. But basically facilities are open at this point. Now for all the sports organizations, both youth and adults, the governor did issue a fairly extensive set of guidelines that they have to follow. We've been talking to the various leagues, and this afternoon I sent out, I got most of them out to most of the leagues about kind of here's the final document. The leagues are going to have, there's a document that basically says they have to sign off that they're going to agree to comply with all the governor's guidance documents. They have to share copies of the regulations with all their participants and coaches and volunteers. They have to send a statement, and I don't know if you saw my email, Rick. It came out at about 6:15 right when I was leaving to come here. So you might not have seen the email yet, but they have to send a statement that basically says they're going to comply, and that by participating, they expect the participants to comply with all the guidance documents, and a couple of other small things. If there's travel leagues, travel teams are only permitted from New Hampshire, Maine, or Vermont, so they can't come from Massachusetts at this point, which is in the governor's guidance. So that's all been sent to them. The only thing that's remained closed at this point is playgrounds. And I will tell you, my phone is ringing off the hook for people wondering when they're going to open. So under the governor's guidance, it was actually under, it was in a weird place. It was outdoor attractions, which includes like mini golf and, Clark's Zoo up there in Lincoln, and, those kinds of things. Yeah. There is one line in there that says outdoor playgrounds. Now in the guidance, it says, for kind of all of these encompassing things, it says you're supposed to clean high-touch, high-contact public surfaces every 2 hours. Now, that's something there's no way we can do. One, I don't have the staff. We can't place people at, all 3 parks for, 12 hours a day to clean them I mean, that's just not practical.
No, you can't do that.
Now, with that said, I polled the communities around us, and most of them either have opened their playgrounds anyway and or will be in the next 2 weeks. And so I've sent that latest update to the town manager for the next week's town council meeting to see what they want to do. They may, what most of the other towns are doing is just putting up signage saying, we're not cleaning the playgrounds, practice social distancing, wash your hands, I don't know how the council's going to feel about that. It doesn't technically meet the guidance because you're not cleaning them every 2 hours. So I don't know. But the decision is not mine or this board's decision to make. So again, I've kind of sent them, here's what the guidance says, here's what the towns around us are doing. What do you think? So they are meeting next Thursday, June 25th, for anybody that happens to be watching at home. And again, I've sent them that guidance, and we'll see what they say. I have not seen anything from the governor that suggests that something more might be coming. They might, but I don't know. I don't know if they're just going to leave it at, you have to do this, and that's the only option, but whether the town will want to take that risk. Potentially there is a risk there. I mean, children, are far less risk than getting it than an adult, but they can also carry it to, people at home, and so, I don't know.
It's tricky.
So that's where we are on playgrounds, which is the only thing that is technically closed at this point. Moving on to community events, and I'm going to take this a little bit out of order from how it is on the agenda just because it's the way I wrote it. So May 28th, the council voted to cancel the 4th of July parade, due to COVID concerns. Now, last year we had 1,100 participants at the starting line alone, never mind the 20,000 or however many happen to be along the parade route. How do you social distance that? I don't know. But the council voted, like I said, on May 28th to cancel the parade, so the parade's gone. And then last week on June 11th, they discussed the fireworks display. Initially, there were some debate about whether to get bigger fireworks so that people could social distance more, but then Manchester, Nashua, Amherst, and pretty much every other town around here canceled, and I think they got nervous that everybody would come here being the only show that was going to run. So ultimately, the council voted to cancel our 4th of July fireworks this year. I know there's a lot of angry people about it. It was not my decision. I'm just, again, this is the council that made that decision. I'm merely reporting the facts. What they've tasked me with at this point is to come up with some new potential festival that would feature fireworks. We are potentially discussing the fall, September, October fireworks. There was talk about like an old home days kind of thing, or like the old Merrimack Rocks kind of event, bringing that back, or something else, fall, something. And so we're starting to work on that. I do know that the Rotary Club has postponed Rib Fest, which was normally this weekend, to the weekend of October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So we could potentially join with them, but I'm not sure I'm crazy about that idea, which would be at Budweiser. We could do our own event. Rotary has expressed interest in helping us if we do our own separate event for volunteers, which we would need. So we could potentially do something like mid-September or mid-October, but we wouldn't want to do the week before or after RibFest because then I wouldn't get the volunteers. But then there's some other possibilities, further down the road, because again, we don't know what the fall's going to look like at this point. We don't know if kids are going back to school. We don't know if there's going to be another outbreak and things are going to start shutting down again. So we're kind of working through some options, and then hopefully at some point in July, we'll be able to announce something, which I'm not going to go through the other options at this point, just because it's too early in the process to talk about. But so that's 4th of July. I did get permission last week to actually move ahead with our concerts in the park. We originally were toying with the idea of like a drive-in concert experience. I had reached out to the school district and to the superintendent. They were, I guess they're going to be doing some work on the high school parking lot this summer, and they were working to get back to me on when it was going to start to know whether they could give me an approval. But then we got the guidance change that allows, with the stay-at-home order expiring, we weren't limited to 10 people in a group anymore. So I got the go-ahead from the town to hold concerts. So concerts will start next week. They were officially supposed to start tonight. The first one was usually with the library, and so the library chose to do a virtual Facebook Live event tonight for their children's concert. So we will be starting next week on the 24th. 6 to 8 for him, obviously promoting social distancing, encouraging masks when social distancing isn't possible, and then we'll have hand sanitizer available. But we will be down there at Abbey Griffin Park. Now, the only hiccup would be is if we get rain. If we get rain, we will have to postpone or cancel because none of our indoor venues are available to us at this point. But that's okay. We're going to pray for good weather, and if not, look at alternate, whether if it's normally Wednesday, then maybe it's either Thursday or pushed to later in the summer, or, we'll just have to kind of play it by ear as we go. Similarly, we got permission to do our movies in the park, which we're going to do at Wasserman Park this year, which allows us to spread out a little bit more, which we had actually planned to do it anyway. One, it's just easier. Last year, when we had done one of the movies with National Night Out, and we just got eaten alive by the mosquitoes over at the Legion facility. Abbey Griffin Park works okay, but sometimes it gets a little crowded, so we're going to do Wasserman Park this year anyway. We got plenty of parking, and now with this, we have even more room to spread out, which makes life easier. We do have a 20 by 20 foot movie screen with 3 sound systems, so we should be able to project it plenty loud. So we have 3 movies scheduled this summer. The first one is going to be Friday, July 10th, which is going to be Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, which is the final one. That movie will start at 8:30 p.m. The second one is scheduled for Friday, August 7th, which is going to be Toy Story 4, which will be at 8 o'clock. And then the last one tentatively is going to be Saturday, September 5th, which is going to be Frozen 2. And that'll be at 7:30. This one, the Frozen one, was originally supposed to be last weekend, and obviously we postponed it, because we didn't have clearance to open yet. So, so beyond those are kind of the main programs we have running this summer until we get through all of our refunds and then can start figuring out what's next. We did run during the month of May and up through kind of right now a virtual 5K. Basically, we had these neck gaiters or face buffs made up with our logos on, which I will have some of you, for those of you here. And so everybody that signed up for the race got one of these buffs. Nice for having masks, lightweight masks, cool masks for exercising and getting people outdoors. We had 76 people participate. And probably so far 45 have reported back with their 5K time. We wanted a time in their picture wearing the buff, and then we'd send them a finisher's medal. So probably 2/3 of them have gone through and sent us back the stuff. So that was good. So we're going to do it again in July. I have a patriotic theme one buff that's coming out that should be available at the end of June. And then we'll open the registration for that. That'll take place during the month of July. And so that's one of the things we're working on. And then we're going to probably look at a lot of kind of outdoor fitness and those types of things this summer.
Good.
So that's where we're at.
That sounds awesome. Can you walk at the 5K?
This is Tracy. Can I say something about some community events for this summer?
Sure.
So, I've mentioned this before, and this is just a real quick plug. We have a Relay for Life that we usually do every year in June.
Mm-hmm.
Needless do is something called a virtual Relay for Life. It's
Yep.
going to be on our website, and that's what I'm going to give you. It's on June 27th from 12 to 6 p.m. And it's primarily on our Facebook site, and that is www.facebook.com/RSL Nashua. And what we're asking the local community to do is come and check it out. If you've got a graduate this year and you want to post their picture, or you'd like to post some kind of a memory, we're having a luminaria ceremony all online. We're inviting everyone to participate in any way that they would like to. Any type of a milestone that people are going through in 2020 doesn't just have to be a high school graduation, but clearly that's one of the biggest things going on. We'd like to invite participation, but this is definitely something for the greater Nashua area, but it's definitely inclusive of Merrimack. So I just wanted to put that in there, and hopefully we'll get a lot of Merrimack participation from it. Thank you, Tracy. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yes, it's a great idea.
Rick?
Matt, I have just a couple of public
Yep.
thank yous. First of all, thank you for supporting us last week at the town council meeting.
Yep.
I know you put a lot of effort into that, and we really appreciate it. And the second is a personal thank you. Parks and Rec was nice enough to send a letter to those who wouldn't be working at camp with some suggestions as to where they could find other places of employment. And as a dad, we really appreciated that. Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I felt
Nice.
really bad. I really did. I just, you know.
It's a tough situation. It's a no-win. Either way. Yeah, absolutely. So I guess right now, we're done with director's report, Matt?
Yep.
Okay, so we're on to organizational reports, and we do not have Maureen with us, so hopefully she's doing well and healthy. We have student rep Abby here. Would you like to take the floor?
Yep, just for a little bit. So graduation was able to happen. So graduation was able to happen. It happened in limited amounts, obviously, but the seniors were able to graduate with a ceremony, and I believe they were able to wear their caps and gowns.
Caps, gowns, and matching masks.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so
It was awesome.
we're super happy for the class of 2020, very proud of them for still managing to get their ceremony and to make it through it despite everything that's happening. Other than that, there's not too much going on since we're out for the year, but all summer projects are on Power School Learning, so if you are signed up for that, please go check that out. You don't want to forget about that. They are still happening. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's about it.
Thank you, Abby. Good job.
Thank you, Abby. Have a great summer.
Thank you, you too.
And
Yeah.
Rick,
Thanks.
MIA?
We also are dealing with refunds related to registrations for sports. And obviously, that's been a tedious process. We have a few programs that are going to try to get started and make the best of the summer as they can. That being baseball beginning in July. Softball has already begun practicing. And soccer is going to try to get some games in beginning in July as well. And as usual, you can obtain more information at merrimackyouthassociation.com. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
All right, Shannon, school board.
So the one thing I would say that's Parks and Rec related, obviously, I think you're in constant communication regarding, what we can do with our facilities. I know the American Legion has reached out to us as well for their summer program, which I know a lot of our high school seniors, I think, are college kids. I'm trying to remember what the sweet spot of the age is.
Baseball?
Yeah, baseball.
Yeah, you're right on, I believe.
So, and on that note, right now that's being held with legal counsel for, so we can review what liabilities are, because we are a school system, what facilities need to be, afforded for these kind of things, and then what responsibilities we have for sanitizing them, because it's obviously happening after hours.
Right.
So those are the things with legal counsel, and hopefully we'll be getting an answer back to them. And we have a number of task forces, just so you know, talking about, how school district operations could go forward, because again, there's no true definitive answer yet for the fall, but, everything from health to instruction to whether it be hybrid, whether it be full in, full out. So there are a number of task forces that are working intensely right now and through the month, and then the summer will be planning for whatever we have going forward. Right now, we're meeting once a month for the summer, as we normally do, with an open-ended standing invitation to meet as the district needs us to make critical decisions that in a timely fashion. The other final thing I would let you know is we are offering, for those who need them, lunches through the summer. We do know that for a lot of families, COVID hit them financially hard, and the process to, and just having food insecure students in our district, whatever we can do to support them over the summer. We know that they're doing a lot of summer learning programs, reading programs, just to keep up, and obviously if you're food insecure, you're not at your best. So we will be delivering food through the summer, and then they'll be picking back up in the fall.
Great. Thank you. And we do not have a, go ahead, Laura.
I just wanted to mention, and Tracy had brought it up too, Shannon, about the first robotics team did very well, apparently. Do you have any more information about the group this past
I think
months?
it probably happened for our last meeting, so, because the rest of the season did get canceled. So they did an early season, actually I could tell you, it was the last weekend in February that they did win the competition. And you're right, we probably haven't met since then. So they did win the early season competition, and then the rest of the season was canceled. So,
Oh, wow.
Tracy, did you want to add anything?
Actually, if it's okay, I did get some information from one of the first parents.
Okay.
Their son participated. Is it okay, Shannon? I don't want to step on any toes. Would it be okay if I just kind of read something about the team? It's about the whole team.
I'd be fine with that. I mean, that's.
Go ahead.
Sure.
Fine with me.
I can't hear Shannon. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Tracy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so here it is. Not my words. I'm just reading them here. I want to congratulate the Merrimack Middle School First Tech Challenge team. It's Team Hack Geared, and I'm so sorry if I destroyed the name. 12789, and their head coach Donnie Diaz. This team it was impressive. They have won the Collins Aerospace Innovation Award for bringing innovative robotic ideas to reality, and the Control Award for using sensors and control algorithms to increase the robot's functionality in the field. The Hackers team were also recognized as finalists for their teamwork, as well as were honored as first runners-up for the Distinguished Inspire Award for being a strong role model for all first teams. They are a small team with an amazing group of mentors who have guided channeled the energy and heart of this group of boys into an amazing team who represented Merrimack Middle School with pride. The Hackers team headed the state championship, where they did not place, but were chosen to play as an alliance with one of the top 4 finalists at state. So I just wanted to say that to congratulate them, because all of this happened, like Shannon said, at the end of February. Then things got crazy, and I wanted to make sure that they got a little bit of recognition for the town. Thank you.
Thank you for
Tracy.
sharing.
That's very nice.
Okay.
You know what? I do have one more thing. Thank you, Rick, for bringing the note. So I just want to let everyone know, if you haven't heard already, that our Merrimack Quiz Bowl team won the Granite State Challenge for the state of New Hampshire
that's
this year.
awesome.
So
That's awesome.
good save by Mr. Grenier. Thank you, Rick. I would have felt terrible. I would have gone home and felt terrible. So we were the state champions. So we beat the defending champion Plymouth in the finals. And we definitely, we had our work cut out for us at that one, but, we definitely dominated throughout the season, so kudos to them, and, I hope we, defend next year, so.
That's awesome.
We were in the semis last year, and this year we won the whole thing, so.
Yay! Congratulations.
Yay, nicely done. Nicely done.
Okay, thank you, Shannon and
Excellent.
Tracy. So we don't have a town council liaison here today. Our public has left, so we have no longer comments from the public. So do we have any comments from the committee about today? And
Of
Matt?
course. Go ahead, Nick.
2 announcements, just while I'm looking at it. First, for the Senior Citizens Club, the Journal Leary Center is going to be remaining closed. Oh, thank you. The John O'Leary Center is going to remain closed until we get to phase 3. So it may be, who knows when that's going to be, but it may be a little while. Secondly, this afternoon, the police department sent out an alert. There was a cyanobacteria bloom on Babusick Lake. Basically, that means you can't swim in Babusick Lake right now until it gets retested and comes back as clean. Cyanobacteria is it can cause a lot of health problems. We don't have a public beach, obviously, here in Merrimack, but obviously, if you're going into Amherst, just so you know, you can't go there right now to swim. So the police department sent that out just a little while ago, and that's all I got. Natticook's Lake's fine for Merrimack residents.
Knock on wood.
Oh, yeah, it's perfect. I just wanted to congratulate all of you for coming out to the meeting tonight. The time has gone on weirdly, and Matt, thank you for all your persistence and change and you and James have really come up with some more plans. You must be exhausted, but I wanted to also congratulate Mrs. Barnes, Shannon Barnes, on graduation of Noah. I can't believe it. And Mr. Green here, Sam graduating. Great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Very exciting, yeah. That's wonderful. Thanks.
Second the motion.
Thanks, Laura. We have a future meeting date of August 19th, 2020, obviously. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, we got a second?
I'll second that motion,
There we go.
And
And a roll call again.
And
roll call
the roll
again.
call.
So, in favor, Abby. In favor, Rick. I'm in favor. Christine's
Christine,
in favor.
favor.
Michelle's in favor. You get a car. That's right. Laura.
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes.
Julie.
Yes.
The motion carries 800. We are adjourned. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, folks, for participating.
Merrimack TV is committed to our community. From gavel-to-gavel coverage of town and school board meetings to updates on town services and projects, we aim to keep you connected.
Good morning, I'm Kyle Fox, Public Works Director for the town of Merrimack.
Hi, I'm Diane Trippett. I'm the town clerk tax collector for the town of Merrimack.
I'm Captain Matt Tarleton with the Merrimack, New Hampshire Police Department.
And keep the public informed of every motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
And many moments, so you can be confident that we're here for you. Thanks for watching. Stay connected. Follow Merrimack TV on Facebook.